Hi, Ellen Coronet here from LNK Creative, and here we are on the bonus round of the content quiz series that you'll find on my website, lnkcreative.com. So today we're really coming together from this series of vlog edutainment posts. So that's a video blog posts that I've put together, and each one came with a content quiz that sort of helped you understand where you are on this journey that I've been on for all these years. And what I'm really leading to now is this hybrid research and lead engagement approach that I've taken with many of my clients, with most of my clients, and with my own brand. So we've talked up until now about how to gamify the whole customer engagement experience and how to bring people on the customer journey that matches your own brand journey. And this could be a small brand, a big brand, it could be a huge conglomerate of many, many, many thousands of people all working towards a similar goal. And at this point, we've talked a lot about how to start a conversation and how to create or think about quizzes that can really engage people and both give you information as a brand and get them some education and understanding of what it is that you're doing that's different from everybody else. So now we're going to talk about how to actually do marketing research. And part of my mission here is to help us understand that we don't want to get too enticed by these pop-up methodologies that are out there. You can just grab a survey platform and start to ask questions, but you really need to understand where it is that you need to come from in order to do it well. So the history of all of this is really kind of interesting to take a quick look at. This is an applied social science. That's sociology, that's anthropology, that's all the disciplines that academicians have taken on to really make sense of the social webs that are out there in the world, in various different cultures and all around the world and through time. And we've applied it to business. We've applied it to business endeavors. So that's where we're coming from. We're often looking for those hidden attitudes, motivations, perceptions, and behavior. And that's really what drives the applied science of marketing research. In the 20s through the 40s, that was really the beginning of the whole Gallup poll concept, and it was mostly quantitative. There were a lot of gathering many, many, many different people's opinions and then tallying them up and running statistics and that sort of thing. And in the 40s and the 50s, that sort of moved to the kitchen table. There were a lot of women who were staying at home while their husbands were off fighting the war, and they began doing these interviews at their kitchen table. And I'm really talking about an American perspective here, but it really applies all across the world. And they also went door to door. So they were having these intimate conversations about brands and purchasing attitudes and behaviors. And that was the beginning of what we call qualitative research. So we went from purely quantitative in the 20s and 30s and 40s to beginning to be much more qualitative in the 40s and 50s. And then that moved to the phone and also more in person, the development of the whole focus group concept. And that continued on into the 90s and 2000s when we began to do these interviews over the phone, but assisted by computers. So it was becoming much more automated, right? It was becoming much easier to tally everything up and make sense of larger numbers of interviews. But also to really bring these qualitative concepts and the creative concepts into play. And then as we've moved into the internet era, we have become more and more automated, and we're moving into artificial intelligence, which is the hot topic of the day. Quite interesting to talk about. So what I'm excited about with all of this is that even as we move into this artificial intelligence mode, and I'm talking especially about the customer experience and user experience research generation, which has risen during my career, to really focus in on those best practices that really keep us in the listening mode. And what we have now is trained methodologists who are, and you'll see the words I want to pop out here, consistently. This is not just a fly by night, oh, let me ask this question now. Let me go find that out. Let me just, go off in my corner and do my little thing. No, this is a very consistent process where we sort through habitual and expected responses, which is not what we want to base all of our decisions on. And what we're doing is creatively teasing out the more candid motivations and reactions to things so that we can stay close to that inner voice of the customer. So even as artificial intelligence grabs our imagination and really kind of takes over some of these processes from us, we're the ones diligently steering the ship and getting meaning out of these interviews and these surveys and these focus groups and all of these diaries. And there's many, many, many wonderful methodologies. And what we're doing is using metaphor, creative thinking, and game playing. So you can see why I'm so excited. And just to remind you, when I say we, I'm talking about customer experience, which would be customer service kinds of explorations, and user experience, which really started with web design. So the internet, the user experience process is really talking about what happens online, but all of it has kind of informed and become part of the whole marketing research experience. And that's what I'm really excited about. So, what are we doing when we do these interviews and focus groups and so on? And the little hidden person there is the brand, and that would be big data behind the brand. You can still rely on and begin to really incorporate the data that's out there, that's becoming easier and easier to integrate through all these different processes and programs and software. So we can base things on big data, but we really need to keep our ear very close to the actual people who are out there. And we do that through exploratory research, which is focus groups and one-on-one interviews. And now there's even technology where there are organizations that will go and send some data gathering insight into the home without having to introduce a whole video camera and a person and be invasive like that. So there's a lot of ways you can do exploratory research. And then you want to think about, where are the gaps in the needs that people have that they may not even be aware of. And then we can move into landscaping, SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So that's a kind of a traditional approach. It fits very much into what we're still doing out there with research and positioning the brand against the competition and so on. And then you get into messaging and advertising. And then there are more and more, as I've hinted at, methodologies that we can use in customer experience and user experience and all kinds of general marketing research. So when it's stripped down to the essential best practices, here's what I want you to remember, whether you're a big brand or an entrepreneur, really trying to pull a lot of insight together on a low budget, whether you have a low budget or a big budget. You always want to start by mapping theories and hypotheses in depth. And I recommend that you do that with your stakeholders. And by that, I mean not only the customers, the people who are going to buy what you are offering, but the other teams that are around you, the any investors that you may have, and so on, the decision makers, the all the even the support teams that you have, the advertising team, and so on. So anybody who has a stake in your best outcomes is somebody you want to start by chatting with and getting their opinion and helping them, have them help you map out what you're expecting to learn or what you would like to learn. And then you want to take all that insight that you get from that process, whether it was formal or not, and explore and ideate and really start to get those insights together, because you're already well on the path towards some aha kinds of ideas and insight. And you want to iterate, you want to do more than one set of interviews with the various stakeholders or with one group of the people that you're interested in. And then you want to make sure that you're not just asking what's in your own head, that you're ensuring some kind of validity, and you're reducing the biases that we all bring to this. So researchers know there are many kinds of biases that can get in our way, and we're constantly working to downplay those biases. And they come from many different sources. You can read up about that. There's a lot written on it. And then the fourth item that I want you to really keep in mind when you're doing good research is to build every instrument and every analysis with those three things in mind as you're moving into the conclusion kind of phase of what you're doing. And you even if it's just building the instrument, when you come to the end of building the instrument, you want to make sure you've thought both about your customers and about your stakeholders. And then the final thing is, don't assume that you know how people are going to respond to the questions that you're asking and the methodologies that you're using. Always, always, always pre-test. In my 40 years, I have never launched something without having to tweak it a little bit, because some aspect that I never could have thought of comes out. And the time it takes to tweak that so that people all feel seen and heard and don't get frustrated is well worth every little penny of your time. So in this context, now that you understand where we're coming from with marketing research, I think it's really a really super easy leap between this kind of formal research and what I'm calling quizification. And quizification you can learn about in the first 6 vlog posts that I've done here, but it's really just making the whole process fun and making sure that the brand is really listening to the customer and the customer is able to talk back and forth. It's not a one-way conversation. And the reason quizification is so critical is that it's really important to bring that kind of serendipity and unabashed fun into every aspect of what we're doing when we communicate from the brand to the market. So because we're always in a two-way conversation, we're going to bank on that and have some amazing, wow, fun, ha ha ha, laughter insight. So what I invite you to do now is take the next quiz in this process to see where you are on this journey. And you can scan that, or you can go straight to the URL here at the bottom, or just sign up for a chat with me at bit.ly/LNK talk. The LNK is all caps. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.